Is it that time?
Is it the time? Hey, everybody.
It is that time.
Welcome. I'm Shane.
And I'm the big dumb guy. Thank you all. I'm Lex.
I guess that was said on the chat.
On the chat last week. Yeah, I'm a little
Not even on
offended,
the chat. It was
maybe.
a comment made. Yeah.
Almost.
Rock on.
Anyway.
Embrace it.
And just so you guys know, Kelly's intro, you can tell they're not rehearsed, and I want to assure you they're not rehearsed.
We're in here just like...
You know those guys, like, you go to a karaoke bar, and you see that dude that just takes himself, like, way too seriously. You can tell he's like working it in his mirror at home, like trying to get the moves, and then gets all upset.
Are you talking about me?
In the mirror?
No, you rock the Sinatra, dude. But it's not like we don't hear Kelly like practicing in his office or anything. Just so you know, and it shows.
You know what though? You should go karaoke with me. I do a killer YMCA, my friend. Bring
that would be worth.
Everybody
saying,
does a killer YMCA.
Oh no, not like this.
Let's do it.
Okay, then I want to see you dress up as one of the Village people. It's dealer's choice, dude.
Dealer's choice, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and start this thing out.
Q&A. Java. Let's talk Java before we start this.
Oh yeah. Thank you. In fact, have you imported it yet?
No. But you think I was in here doing something other than drinking? Come on. Get real.
You usually just exist. That's pretty much what you do.
But
all right.
I'm so good at it.
Yeah. Actually, you're still kind of mediocre. Java 8 was a new version of Java 8 was released, and I
got to tell these guys, so funny getting an email like late when the night Java came out, and Shane's like, "This is just because you made changes to it."
Yeah.
So we don't kill browsers anymore.
Yeah, we had a user that had said, "Hey, this is what I do." We had looked at it, and it really had to make some changes because we don't have a very when we build packages, we have to make them kind of the lowest common denominator because there are so many different environments that you all have that we have to do our best to not make assumptions. So we still have the alternate. The alternate pretty much is unchanged with one exception, but the Java 8. So I just imported that. The Java 8, we no longer will kill the running browser, but that means some additional changes were made. Number one, we look for the current installation of this particular update. So if a computer already has this update, we won't deploy to it.
We'll basically mark it as a success and call it done and move on.
In the past, what we've done, we just uninstall all those Javas that we find anyway. So because we do have customers that they don't use inventory or they don't deploy to like a collection or a Spiceworks group or something of computers that only have an old Java.
A shotgun blast out.
They even if it has the current Java, they just blast it out. And the other package would take that into account. Not killing the browsers and doing that would really corrupt that Java if they were running a Java session. If you have the current, in this case, it's update 111. If you have update 111 installed, the deployment will not proceed. It will show a success, but it will not proceed past the first one or two steps, depending on the architecture.
Reason being is if you've got a browser that has a running version of Java, the MSI is going to tag that and say, well, delete these files on the next.
Yeah, it does. Instead of corrupting the Java or anything, or in this case, we usually would kill the browser and all the Java processes. This will just say anything that's being used from Java will get reinstalled at the next, or will get deleted at the next reboot. But if you're reinstalling the same version, Java will work until you reboot, and then it will start deleting certain components.
So that's why we stop it at that point and don't let
So just keep that in mind. We have had quite a few people asking about that. Hey, is there any way to not disrupt my users? Now, the alternate Java package that will reinstall over the same version, it will. It's more of the brute force one. We ask still that you only use the alternate on those machines that have problems.
Yeah, it's full contact.
Yeah, in fact, I'll just hurry and show. We'll do go to our runtimes, Java, yada yada.
Just to bring up speed, the alternate goes and basically we rip out anything that we've found happens to stop and install or corrupt it. We just rip that out. We don't go and get any of the other artifacts that are left. We just go after the specific things. So there'll be stuff left over. Generally. Yeah, so
I'll just try. So like if these are all online, Costanza and Win1032 should upgrade. Leonard should have the latest version. So you'll see that Leonard should stop, depending on the architecture, at step 1 or 2,
Yeah.
and just say, I'm not going to proceed. Just wanted to just call this out to you.
Let's pull up Leonard really and show him the.
Yeah, so 64-bit machine, we have it exit with error code 11. If you look at the output log, you can see, yep, we found this, this particular installation, so we just say, Leonard already has it, we're not going to proceed. If Leonard happens to have a corrupted version, run the uninstall package for Java 8, or just use the alternate.
Yep.
Okay? Yeah, and the others are just moving forward. So give us some feedback. Let us know if that works for you. It's not as intrusive, which breaks everything that Lex stands for. Yeah, do we have a question?
First question of the day coming from Rich C, which could mean Richie Cunningham. I don't know. Is there a way of detecting if an additional display is connected, like a projector, and setting the resolution to a specific value and setting the display to clone?
Now, I can answer actually both of these, but so if it's connected to DisplayPort, we're going to pull the information.
Yeah, like a display port or your HDMI port or something.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me just
However,
check to see
to
if this
set the
shows
resolution, no, there's no way for us to set the resolution on those. So
if you go ahead and show our screen. We have a computer called Teacher here. Teacher has 2 displays. It's got the regular computer display for Samsung, and then it's got a Samsung TV. So you can see both are showing there. Do we have Torsten on here? Torsten is connected only to a projector. Yeah, there it is.
I think it's a
Yeah, there it is. It's a Pro 8400.
ViewSonic.
Yeah, I think the ViewSonic projector. So you can see in the displays, as Lex mentioned.
We'll collect the info. But as for setting it,
Yeah, setting the resolution, even detecting it. No, we don't do that. So sorry. So the answer is yes to one and no to the other. If you wanted to do that resolution, rock on.
got another one?
Dear Shane and Lex, I am in the middle of a required FDIC audit, and one of the items I have to produce is a report of all computers and their patch status. So I've been creating reports in PDQ Inventory that shows all the computers and the status on each individual software that I use PDQ Deploy for patch management. I'll then take the reports in CSV and merge them, hopefully showing each computer in a row and each software in a column, and whether it is up to date or not. Is there an easier way to do this? Derek P.
And thank you for sending this in yesterday. I saw that. So I sent one to Annie. There is not the answer is yes. There's an easier way to do it, and props to you on creating the reports for that. There's some easier ways of doing it, and we are considering having some type of a view or a native feature where you can specify, apps that you want to track and using variables, the latest version, so that you can always, at the computer view, see that. If you have access to the collection library, we have a lot of collections in there that will show you machines that have an old version of something. So you can, let's go back to Java here. You can go and look at Java 8 32-bit. And in this collection, I can see we've got 8 computers that have an old version of Java 8 32-bit. If you want to, I did create a report. I think it's in here. Let's see, custom. Yeah, out-of-date applications. I'm going to edit this report. Right-click it and go to define. So you can see in the columns, all I'm doing is showing the computer name. And this is one way of doing it. It's fairly easy, and hopefully this will help pass your FDIC report.
Yeah.
But then using the table member of collection and using the name of that collection. And in this case, it works because our convention here is to take applications and use the word old.
If you look at the filter, let's show them the filter.
So if you look at the filter, and I did throw in, just to show you an example of excluding one, anything that has a .NET in the name of the application. Maybe you have computers that are at .NET 4.6 and you don't really care if they're at 4.6.2. So this is just showing you how you can exclude. But we've got the all, any computer that's a member of a collection where the name contains open bracket, old, close, and excluding those that contain .NET in the name. So when we run this, you can see Abby has an old version of Chrome and an old version of Notepad. You don't show the versions here. If you want to do that, if you really want a comprehensive report, you can do it with
Advanced SQL here.
Yeah, you're going to need to use some SQL.
SQL, some.
So you're going to have to do
Union
some
queries.
Yeah,
It's painful.
a bunch of subselects and probably some unions, as you mentioned, to get what you're looking for. So it can be done. The data is in there. If this will do it for you, it's fairly simple. Just make sure you have the appropriate collection. So if there's a collection in the library that has an application you're not looking for, some banking application, since you're talking FDIC, then create a collection for that and just say, show me, one collection has like the word old in it or whatever flag you want. That is a computer that has this application but is below this particular version.
Yep.
And then you'll be able to see that, and hopefully that will get you
Suffice,
up there.
yeah.
And obviously the cool thing about using the collections versus the reports are great. Reports are fantastic when you really need to dig down. But if you're just talking about, I need to know which computers to update, collections are the way to go. In these, I'd mentioned in the Javas.
Just a reminder, the out-of-date applications report, we have that in the description of the YouTube page. If
Oh,
anyone wants
cool.
to-
Oh, nice.
to
Okay.
follow
Thanks.
along.
Thanks. In this case, we don't know what versions of Java 8 are on these computers. That's where a report would come in, where you say, show me a report, Java, and any version below this, and then you'd be able to see a report of what versions these are. But in the context of you just needing to get these up to date, whatever version they're at is immaterial because they're below where you expect them to be. So you would just take a Java package, the latest Java package, and deploy it to all the computers in this target, in this collection,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
And get those up to date.
The nice thing is that they're dynamic.
Hell, let's just do
changes
it now. While we're waiting, I'll just say deploy. Of course, auto deployment is something that's great for this. A lot of people do use auto deployments so that they can get the latest version of Java or whatever is in the package library automatically pushed out.
Again, set it and forget it. Make your lives
set it and
easy.
forget it. But here I'm just going to say, just go to Java. There's my Java 8 old. I'll just move all those targets over there and say proceed. And since this one doesn't kill the browsers, it will kill Java sessions. That's still necessary. But we'll just push this out there.
Hey, look, there's the one JJ's working on. Pow! Webcast is
Phew,
over.
sorry, dude. Just kidding. Anyway, do we have
Another question?
hopefully that answers
Yeah.
your question. If not, by all means, throw a follow-up in the chat.
Okay, next question from the lovely and talented Monica K. Are there any plans to add things like conditions, PowerShell / command steps, or reboot steps to auto deployments?
Vaguely asked feature request, huh?
Yes. Hi, Monica. Good to see you.
Kind of, or maybe.
Our Minnesota connection.
Yes.
Are there any plans to add things like conditions, PowerShell, command steps? So basically, how I read your question, Monica, is you're saying, is there going to be a way to take and change the right now you can import a package from the package library and then change it all you want. But when it comes to auto deployment, you have to kind of take what we've provided. You can do pre-steps and post-steps, but the actual body, yes, there is a way. We are planning on doing that. We think we've narrowed down a way. Jason, who is on vacation right now, has also been a big advocate for that. We think we found a way of kind of overhauling the auto deployment to allow you to make those changes.
Alter the packages,
It's just it's not going to be out. It's not going to be out in the next few months.
It'll be a while.
Yeah. So right now, no, not for auto deployments. But obviously, if you really do need, just import that package, make the changes that you want, add those conditions to those steps that you want, and then schedule that deployment. So a few extra steps, you can get what you want, but it's not going to be native as part of auto deployment for a little while. We have another question?
Okay, next question from Chris Is there a way to scan computers on a network using the SomputerSecureChannel and get a report of which computers have issues?
I don't know.
I'll drink to that. I don't know either.
You stumped us.
Yeah, we have
the
been
answer, I don't
stumped, man. That's a good one.
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up.
Mark that down. Yeah, cheers. I've only got a little bit left here.
Here we go.
Give me some.
Give you some?
Yeah.
Whoa, hey, is this
I
the first
apologize.
time Shane has
I
ever asked
apologize.
for a refill on the show? Wow.
If anybody on the chat knows that,
Please let it, fill us
throw
in.
down. But if you're wrong, you're going to have to chug. That might upset your boss. Who cares?
Cheers. Scope.
And another.
Speaking of another, we have a
Boy,
follow-up
is
question.
Chris going to just make us get... They're going to have to pour us out of this studio.
Absolutely.
All right. What do we got?
Follow-up question from Chris R. What's a good way to fix trust relationship errors using PDQ? I usually have to go to location and manually remove the computer from the domain and re-add it.
Oh, right. Well, there's a couple of ways you can do this. There's a couple of ways you can do this from, remotely.
Yeah.
I've got one that uses NetDom. However, NetDom is an old way of doing it, and I've already pre-staged NetDom. It's a Microsoft utility network domain on the computer, so that I can do that. You simply deploy using the local admin credentials to that computer. But there's actually a PowerShell.
Yeah, I was going to say PowerShell.
There's a PowerShell commandlet. The exact commandlet eludes me. The name eludes me if Chris
maybe
or somebody,
can pop it in there for
Chris
us.
or Nate or Jordan
We're phoning a friend at this point, yeah.
want to throw that in there. There is a way to do it. You're just, once again, if the trust relationship is broken, you're not going to be able to deploy it with, obviously, domain credentials. That's where you're going to want to deploy it with local admin credentials. If you don't have local admin credentials, you can set those up in preferences. Go to
Credentials? Surprisingly.
Notice we've got Vincent. Vincent is what Lex is our IT guy, and Lex doesn't like to use administrators. So for our lab machines, Vincent is is an admin user.
Yep.
Obviously the built-in admin SID 500 that is disabled. So Vincent is on all of our lab machines. If you have something like that, notice I'm going to edit these.
Thanks, Shane. Now I have to go change that.
It's lab machines. Who
Yeah, okay,
cares?
that's a good point. Lab
So you got Vincent, the password there. We'll test it. We've got a computer that's not on the domain. That's Fletch. Great movie.
Successful.
So basically, when you would deploy your fix, we'll just pretend that this is a package to fix. Oh, hell, let's just go ahead and deploy Java out there.
As the local.
Change your credentials for this deployment to that, and somebody pipe in with either that, or we'll get that out to you, the commandlet for PowerShell. Obviously, you're going to have PowerShell on the target machine if you want to use it that method, and then deploy. Now, keep in mind, when you do a deployment and you've changed credentials, your next deployment
You need to change them back.
is going to have those previously used credentials.
It's default,
So
yeah.
you're going to want to change that back to,
So is that on
whatever
all of
you
them or
use.
just on the one we just did?
I'm sorry?
That deployment, when we change that credential, is that going to be on any package or just the package we just did?
Any package. It remembers,
So it's
the,
a default,
it remembers
right?
the previous.
For any of them, okay.
So, that's a good question.
I'll drink to that.
So whether you get it
So will
right
you.
or wrong, Lex will drink.
I'll drink, yeah. Well, you should drink to that too.
Cheers. Dude, you're the worst influence, man.
I am the
If you do, you
funnest
drink. If you
influence.
Not only are you a bad person, you're a bad influence. All right. Is there a way to prevent Andrew, I'm sorry. I'll let you read, Kelly.
Stealing Kelly's thunder there.
yeah,
Doing
Wow.
someone's job for me.
That's okay. Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to prevent a user-initiated computer restart/shutdown during deployment? Andrew S.
There is not a native way to do it. There are ways you can. There's a bunch of utilities out there. In the past I have used WinBatch, even though WinBatch is now being retired at the end of next year. I really like WinBatch because there are times where I have deployed something where I lock the keyboard and the mouse during the deployment. And it's just a script that I wrote. And there's a lot of different utilities out there that you can do it. There's not a native way with us to prevent that, but you can, just from a simple script, you can use a command step or something like that, set it to run in user interactive mode, or deploy user interactive. That will just freeze that. You just want to make sure to release that at the end. So you'd have two steps to give the IO back.
No,
Someone in the
don't
chat-
bother. Just lock it. Let them know.
Somebody
and
in
they
the
have to
chat
call you.
suggested slap them.
Yeah.
Slap. That's a good one. I like that.
That's obviously not going to prevent somebody from hitting the power button.
No.
But the only problem
it may delay them.
The only problem with slapping it in users, you actually have to get out of your chair and walk to where they're at.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of
deploying.
your deployment.
Far.
I'd like to deploy a
So there's not a native
It's
feature, but there's a lot of ways out there to do that. We actually haven't had much call. We haven't had a lot of people saying, I really want to
lock my end users out.
lock my end users out when I'm doing these deployments. Generally, a deployment is, you want it to be done in such a way that the user doesn't know what's going on. But at the same time, if you have users that you think are getting ready to go home and you want to hurry and get that out to them, then yeah, you might want to script something like that. Everything else?
Question from Matt L. Dear Shane and Lex, is there a good way to trigger auto deployments the first time a machine comes online, such as when we're loading a machine, we want Deploy to go ahead and install a group of software?
Well, the very first time a machine comes online, now we're planning on making this a feature, but it's not. You can use a heartbeat a heartbeat in a schedule, and so in your auto deployment schedule, you would have in your triggers, one of those would be heartbeat. That only works if you have pro mode or higher of inventory, and that computer is in inventory, and inventory sees that it's in an offline
state.
And then when that computer comes online and inventory sees that, okay, so this, computer homer off, went on, ooh, that's a trigger, sends it over to deploy. Are there any outstanding deployments for that? The problem with a brand new machine coming online is inventory may not know that it exists yet.
Yeah.
So that trigger would not take effect until the next time it reboots. So actually, if you're building a new machine, recommend doing, I think, probably what Chris and Stephen Baldinger did last week. That I believe they mentioned it. I didn't watch it, but I hope they mentioned this. And that is, if whatever you're doing for your building process, have a command that calls out to your PDQ Deploy machine.
The example is have your fog server send a command that kicks off a schedule or a package for you.
Yeah, because the PDQ Deploy in Pro Mode or higher
can run command line.
Yeah, PDQ Deploy can run deployments. The command from the command line. Deployments, you can execute schedules. If you execute a schedule, then it just uses whatever target list is there. If you're saying deploy a package, you have to specify the targets.
Yep.
But that's all easy enough to script at the time when that computer is ready to go. So there's a way to do it. It's just not a native. We don't have an agent, so it's not like that computer logs in with an agent and says, "Hey, I'm here." We are at this point. Well, we're planning on adding an optional agent. At this point, we're still kind of push technology, so we've kind of gotten around that with stuff like the heartbeat and the retry queue, where we just go out once we detect a computer's online and deploy something.
But again, we have to start with a baseline at that point.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I hope that answers your question. There's a way to get what you want.
There is.
It's just there's not a little checkbox that you can click that says first time this comes on, that's a trigger.
we actually have a blog how Steven does it, and it works pretty cool.
Yeah, and Stephen, once again, he was one of our guests.
He was a guest last week.
Yeah, a guest last week. He's one of our customers out in Ohio.
All right. Dear Shane and Lex, great to see the two of you back together, by the way. If PDQ Deploy is chugging away on some auto deployments with a bunch of computers queued up, how can I intervene to get an unrelated package deployed ASAP to a target computer?
Well,
There's no simple way.
yeah,
to do it.
there's
no smooth way, I guess. To do it.
there is a. I know you were working on some infrastructure issues, so you missed this meeting yesterday. But there is a feature that we're planning on introducing. We're just not sure. It's not nailed down if we will do it or when, but we're certainly considering it, of changing the priority or allowing something to bump into that priority, to bump the priority list up. So for right now, there's not much you can do. If you really need to get a package out there. Now, this is only going to be an issue if you've got a bunch of packages and deployments that are already queued up. If you don't have a lot that are queued up and you deploy that package, it's just going to go right out. But if you've got a huge queue list waiting of computers, yeah, it's going to go to the back of the line at this point. There's not a way to just say, do it now. Forthcoming, hopefully.
Yep.
Next question from Bailey P. In PDQ Inventory, is there a way to search for users specifically and bring up their last login computer? I'm looking for an easy way to do this without querying AD.
Hi, Bailey. We don't, at this point, not natively with us, because we don't track users, we track machines. Now, we do track currently logged on users, but that doesn't help you as far as the last computer they logged onto. So we don't track those users. You are going to need to use, you are going to need to query AD or just some other utility to look perhaps for user profiles on machines, and when the last time the desktop was initiated is usually a good way of doing that. Sorry.
And a question from Pia A. What is the best way to deploy Chrome? If a user tries opening Chrome after it closes their window, it fails. We have some users who can't accept WOL requests, so we can't always do it after hours.
The best way to deploy Chrome if a user tries opening Chrome after it closes their window. So I'm not sure what Chrome you're using. If it's the Chrome that we deploy from the package library, if you're using the packages that we have, we don't stop Chrome. We don't kill Chrome. We just deploy it on top, and then all the Chrome, before that gets updated, all the Chrome processes have to end, and the next time they start it, then it will finish the upgrade.
Version, yeah.
But yeah, we don't, because Chrome handles that fairly graciously. So I'm not really sure what are you killing Chrome beforehand? As part of our testing, and Chrome comes out, a new version comes out quite often, where we deploy it to computers that have Chrome running and computers that don't have Chrome running, and it's one of our most popular packages. I haven't heard of this issue. Now, there is a known bug in the latest 64-bit Chrome that Jason and Brig have told us. We've had 4 people that have just said, hey, this is a problem after upgrading, Chrome won't open on the 64-bit, and that's a known bug. Hopefully the next 64-bit version will fix it. Yeah. If that's what you're talking about, that's a bug from Chrome that will be fixed. But that's just in the last week. Yeah. If you look, if as far as the best way, let me just grab a Chrome package. It's one of the easier ones. Let me just put the filter here for Chrome. So I'll just do a Google Chrome Enterprise. Now, a few people have asked, because you have conditions, why don't you just put Chrome, the 32-bit and the Chrome 64-bit in the same package and then have one step only run 32-bit? Why do you have to have separate packages? You don't have to. We do it because the vast majority of our customers still prefer the 32-bit Chrome even on 64-bit machines. Yeah. That's why you have 2 different packages. Okay, I'm going to click View Package. There's our Chrome Enterprise package, and you can see it's very simple. We simply have 2 steps. Number 1, we run the MSI. And then number 2, we just disable auto update, which is a registry entry. So this is all we do. We don't have any conditions to say user can't be logged on or anything. So
thanks to Google for making that so smooth.
But we are using the formerly Google Enterprise. Now it's called Google for Work. We just keep the name Enterprise because people are used to.
And our final question of the day from Niraj S. Nested package deployment for the fresh machines is flawless, but when it comes to user machines, there are a lot of hiccups. Can we expect all or most of the future packages to be included with uninstall and existence verification steps?
So I guess they're saying having a condition to say,
if this is already on there.
This is already on there. We are planning on adding it to some. I don't know about all. Yeah. Many applications actually work quite well when you install the same version on top of itself. Because Adobe Reader is a great example. Adobe Reader, if it sees that there's the existing version, it'll just actually kind of run a repair just to make sure everything's okay. But it's invisible to the end user. So on a lot of those packages, probably not. Some that we do know there's a problem, yes. As time goes on, we're going to add those conditions. And I believe talking about in a new version, in a recent version of Deploy, you can have file and registry conditions. And in this case, we would, before we run this particular step to install a package, you could just say, hey, if this registry value exists, or if this file exists, that would constitute this is installed, just skip it. type thing. So yeah, some of them through time, yes, we will add that. But you certainly have that opportunity to do that now on the packages that you build using conditions, file, and registry. We have videos on that very stuff. All right. I guess, yeah, rock on.
So,
Hey, some good questions, you guys, and
hey, we got
sorry about
stumped
that.
today. Wow.
The Computer Secure Channel. Don't know. I'm not sure if anybody answered that on the. But I'm going to sober up, and then I'm going to go see if I can find the
Did you
answer.
drink that much, really?
Now it's morning over here. What the hell? All right, you guys.
Breakfast? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was breakfast. It was
was
Lagavulin
breakfast.
16 here. Judas Priest.
Thanks for watching, guys.
These guys rock. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for joining us today for PDQ&A, and don't forget we have links to bonus content and an application for user groups right there on our chat. Congratulations to Rich C. and Chad B., winners of PDQ swag. Send us an email at webcast@adminarsenal.com. We'll get that sent out to you as soon as we can. And if you have any additional questions, don't forget to hit up our support forums. Thanks again. We'll see you back here next week.